Good day. I had some requests about doing my walkthrough, or whatever we should call it, the new lineup for Alliance. They wanted to, or you wanted to hear it in English as well. So I thought, what the heck, I'll do my best. Um, as always, my English is not the best, but I'm gonna try my best and try to get my thoughts out to you. First off, we have, of course, Loda and EGM, who are still left in the organization, and I think that's really good because they have a really high level of play, and with Loda, who has all this experience, also EGM, of course, but they can keep themselves in their lane. They can really just adapt easily to a new team as well. I think because if you have your support and if you have your carry and they are both really good playing together, I think you have a lot for free then. EGM, I mean, he's a good roamer as well, but he's also really good at helping out Loda. And since he's going to play the fifth position, at least that's what I'm expecting. I think that's going to work out really fine. So it's not much to say about those two. What I would like to see is Loda giving himself a little bit more or a little bigger hero pool, which I think he will because he has a bigger hero pool. But in the former alliance, I'm not so sure if they used it properly. I mean, he can play pretty much anything as a carry, and I think they should use that. EGM is also one of those support players who can do a lot of different supports. I haven't seen him a lot on Shen and heroes like that, but he is really good with. I mean, he can play a really good Oracle. He can go for Rubik. He can even play Wisp. I think these kind of players are really key to have in a team. So starting out with Loda and EGM is a really good thing. And if we then start looking at the new players who have the green pluses out of their nicks. Hansken is really one of the smartest players in Dota, without any doubt. He is also really laid back. He doesn't. I mean, he doesn't have to prove anything, in my opinion. He's not that kind of a person, and I think that's really good to be when you're playing around Loda. No offense to Loda, but Hansken, I don't think he would mind dying a lot of times if that's necessary. He's also a really good roamer. He's also a really good player to find the early kills. And he understands the game good. So I think his positionings in team fights and so on is really fine. And I think it's really smart that Limp and Hansken, I mean, they have played together for a long time in different teams. So in that sense, you don't get... If EGM is not doing good movement into middle on with Limp, then you would kind of be screwed, right? But since Hansken has this with him from former teams, I think that's going to be a really strong thing. And I mean, EGM can just adapt if there is a movement between Hansken and Limp, and Hansken can just adapt if there is a movement between Loda and EGM, for example. And I think that's smart to have two kind of pairs that know each other well and know each other's play style well as well. I've been seeing Hansken doing the drafting, and I think that makes a lot of sense. I also think that Hansken is one of those people who, like Limp actually, has been in the wrong teams. I'm not gonna say his team has been awful or anything, but there is a lot of more potential in both Hansken and Limp if they just get to come into the right team, if you know what I mean. Going over to Limp, I think Limp has some heroes which he really stands out with. I mean, he has played a really good Lina back in the days in Ninjas and Pyjamas. His Death Prophet. I mean, some of the heroes when he goes middle, and I don't know if it's the actual heroes or if it's the team around him at that actual game, but then he is really, really, really top notch. Some other heroes he might be a little bit more mediocre on, but I still think he has a fairly big hero pool, and I definitely think that he can adapt and make that hero pool bigger in this team. And again, I think he got the right personality. He doesn't need to take a lot of space socially, in my opinion. He's smart, he's laid back, and I think that's a really good thing to have in a team like this, where, I mean, Loda, you can't really compare with him. He is the superstar of this team, and he will always be that. And if you're trying to get that role, or if you're trying to fight for that, then you have started out on the wrong foot in some way, at least in my opinion. And I think Limp and Hansken makes a perfect fit for that. Both of them hasn't really reached their full potential, in my opinion. Some of the games we've seen Hansken play at his full, some of the games we've seen Limp play at his full, but they got more to give, and I'm looking forward a lot to that. Now to the offlane, Jonas som fan. First of all, without being judgmental or bad mannered, that this is the wild card of the team. You have to say that. If you don't say that, then you're not 100% familiar with the Swedish scene, in my opinion. With that said, though, Jonas has some of the highest level of Dota I've ever seen when he is in his top. But his downs are still not good enough, in my opinion, which doesn't have to be a problem. Again, I talked about players being in the wrong teams, or sort of, and not being able to really show their potential. I think Jonas may be one of those. He also maybe needs to chill a little bit about around his play, but still, his potential is over the roof when he's playing good. He has an axe which is just so insane, and he has this drive to always go further. And of course, if you compare that to Bulldog, who played, these two players are completely different. I'm not talking about skill now, because that's, I mean, what's the point of talking about skill versus skill when there's a player who left? But Jonas has this energy and this drive to get kills rather than getting farm, in my opinion. He is a good farmer as well, but his drive is the kills. And I think with that, you can afford having Limp in middle for the first of all, because he is a little bit more greedy and less of a playmaker, in my opinion, for a mid player, but he is still a very good mid player. And both Hansken and AGM is going to take, I think they're going to steal some of the farm, at least. That's what I believe. So what you want then in the offlane is someone who is really aggressive, someone who want to make the plays, but my warning, or my whatever, I don't know, is don't be too aggressive in this lane. That's what I'm hoping, at least. So this team, what potential does it have? In my opinion, right now, the potential of just disbanding and not finishing any tournament is there, because it's so new. But also the potential of being one of the best teams around is also there, for real. This is not me being a Loda fanboy or whatever. This is a completely new team, but I see a lot of potential, and I like that. I like this team. I think it's going to be very much fun. I don't like the new logo so much, though, but anyway. So that's my thoughts about the new alliance setup. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, well, that's all from me.